I'm going to call this meeting to order, the 198th meeting of the Equal Employment Practices Commission. I'm Commissioner Reese. Seated to my right is Commissioner Cabrera, and seated to her right is Commissioner Rice. I'll ask for an approval of the minutes of the prior meeting, the meeting of November 5th, 2015.
I approve the minutes of November 15th.
And can I have a second?
I second.
Okay, Executive Director Terry, the minutes of the approval of November 5th, 2015 have been approved. According to the agenda, the third item on that agenda is an audit status report, and I would ask for a highlight of activity of 2015 of the EEPC, including audits.
Okay, these are just the highlights of our accomplishments in 2015. In terms of the audit mandate, we discussed before, but I'll remind you that we enhanced the employment practices audit. We actually kind of delved into some issues that we had in the past and made it a bit more robust. We discussed some of the compliance procedures last meeting. But we initiated 38 agencies in total in the year 2015 because we also initiated some agencies this month. We enhanced the monitoring, which we spoke about last time, and we're monitoring implementation for 20 agencies at the current moment. In terms of the non-audit mandate, we created and administered opinion polls for 78 PEO and 76 HR professionals citywide to glean their experiences with employment practices, specifically recruiting, hiring, and promoting in city government. We held our first public hearing in 8 years. It was entitled Commitment to Achieving Diversity in the Public Sector. Approximately 113 guests, consisting of 80 EEO professionals or representatives and 33 HR representatives were in attendance. We also produced a report which synthesizes the information from the polls, the public hearing, and some of the seeds data and the testimony that we got. We're in the process of going through the report, and you guys will get it probably this week just to, kind of look over and give your suggestions, but it should be done by the end of the year. It's a report that we're gonna give to DCAS and have them, we have recommendations at the end, but we're gonna have them give their input on our recommendations and then we'll publish it.
Does it have the task of holding the public hearing and then refining what you discovered at the hearing, coupled with refining the information that you receive from the city employees? Does that lead you comfortably to what the next public hearing should be? And is there one topic or two topics or three topics from which to choose, or is it more complicated than that?
It's a little more complicated than that. I don't think it necessarily points to what the next public hearing will be. It points to some recommendations that we may have for DCAS or citywide because of some of the issues that we have covered from the polls, and then maybe listening to the testimony and looking at gaps and things that we may see that could improve. But in terms of the next public hearing, I think we probably have information otherwise from doing other research and looking through audits on topics that we can have another public hearing.
Is there do your recommendations fall into one category or several different categories, or are they about hiring, are they about promotion, are they about, like a terrible term, integration within the workplace? Are they in a particular pocket, or are they across all all of those pockets.
Well, they have to do with hiring, promoting, and recruiting, hiring, and promoting, right. But, I don't wanna say yet what they are specifically until I'm sure that the report will be issued in the format that it's in.
Okay,
We may choose to eliminate some things, so I have to look at it a little more closely, and then you guys may have
Okay.
suggestions.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't wanna speak about what the exact recommendations are gonna be yet.
okay, all right. And does this become part of our annual report, the
Yes.
report itself?
Yes.
So and when is our annual report due?
February of next year.
Okay, so this task has to be completed between now and we get it, within the next week or so, and February when the annual report is finished.
Right.
So we've got a timeline in which this has to be done.
Right.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand.
We'll get the feedback. Probably we'll complete it and then we'll get the feedback and then it should be ready for February.
Okay,
That's my favorite thinking.
okay, I'm just trying to understand it for the framework.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
And let me
We-
clarify the target audience for this report.
Well, I would say for now, the target audience is DCAS and the EEO and HR professionals from the city. I'm sure because they participated in the hearing and in the polls that they would wanna see what the results are. But, we can also make it available on our website in case, anyone from the public wants to see it.
Well, it should be available to the public and would be as part of our annual report. But I think the focus of our work, of our mission, is that those people who are in place within the city, who are the employers, if you will, that are part of the employment, really should always be our focus, because it's their practices that implement what we're about, which is to make sure that the employment within the city is fair and promotion is fair. So I think they always have to be, I guess another ancillary part of it is the commissioners themselves, who are in charge, are the administrative heads of all of the city agencies. And so, and to the extent that the community colleges are, well, it's probably the deans of the community colleges. So we might want to contemplate sending copies of those reports to those responsible people for their information.
Right. Okay.
I'm just operating off Arva's question, but the implementers are the EO officers and the HR officers.
And I guess hiring managers, but that's.
Whatever the title is.
Yeah,
Whatever the title is. Yeah.
okay.
But ultimately, the responsibility is that of the commissioner, right?
Right. Correct.
Or dean, or community board head. Executive director of the community boards. Not trying to make more work for you or more copies, but I'm just thinking your question out.
Yeah, no, I just
No,
wonder
we
if
can-
there's a larger play, you know what I mean? Like, if
Right.
there's a way to utilize this to better inform others about the work and what the work is and what the work isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely sending copies is one way, but I was just trying to think about if there was any broader utilization of the information, because you did a lot of work on it and it's good information, so make sure it doesn't just sit on somebody's shelf.
Right.
Well, you could issue a press release, guys. Not hard to do once you've finished it, and focus on particular points of your recommendations, which is the play that you're talking about. That, today we issued the following report. It's a result of X, Y, Z. These are our recommendations to enhance hiring within the city.
Well, once we go through it, I think we'll, once we read through it and see exactly what the final, which ones we're gonna keep or
Well,
what
it's
we're
just,
gonna focus on, then I think we'll have a better idea of who the audience may be.
Well, I think we know who the specific audience is. I think to Arva's question, whether there's a broader audience, is what you,
No,
I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm with her on that, so. I think we'll, keep it in
Okay.
mind. Okay. Should I talk about detail?
Are you
So we
finished?
finally, right, we actually are in the, like, we actually went live. So, we implemented teammate.
Excuse me, I'm about to think,
What was that?
the tech,
Teammate, the audit, the program that automates the audit, well, I would say the administrative aspects of our audits.
I'm in shock. How long has this baby been in?
That's fabulous.
It's, it has been, what?
A year and a
3
half,
years?
at least.
No,
At
in
least.
its entirety, has
Yeah.
it been like 3 years?
Yes,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
because
It's
you
been-
went back to the selection process a second time
Yeah,
through Do It.
it's been a while.
Mm.
But we also, it took a lot of time and work because we had to transition administrative procedures to sort of an electronic format. We had to make everything we do sort of electronic, I guess. We had to transition our filing system from a paper to an electronic filing system, and so everything has to be sort of scanned and linked, and, you know, it has to be available electronically. So we're still doing some of the scanning and stuff, but the bulk of what we do, I would say, is available like electronically.
Wow. Yeah.
And how this is gonna help us is in compliance, it's really gonna automate the compliance portion, the monitoring portion of the audit. So that's how agencies are gonna be able to see the difference, I would say. But for us, it's really gonna matter when it comes to linking information and when we do findings, linking the exact documents that support the findings and things like that. So it's helpful, it's tedious in a way, but it's also better for tracking purposes. So think of it that way. It's never gonna do analysis, but it's really good for keeping track.
Well, it's gonna give you the data for the analysis, so it's gonna, you're gonna be far more confident of the accuracy of the data, assuming that you put it in accurately, so that you have an ability to, I mean, it's gonna do it faster than you're having to look through a paper record.
No, well, no, we're still gonna have to look through paper records. Because a large portion of what we do is qualitative, so we're always gonna have to read and analyze. It's linking your finding to exactly what you read, so that when we're checking it or when we wanna verify the information, we actually know which section of the document it came from and where you got that from, rather than, you know, just your word as an analyst.
Okay.
So, like I said, it's not gonna do analysis. We're never gonna get something that's gonna do analysis, cause then what are we gonna be doing?
We don't want anything to
Right.
do
Doesn't
analysis. We
matter.
want you guys
Yeah.
to do analysis.
Right.
That's fine. That's good.
So, but for the tedious administrative parts, like for tracking purposes and a lot of times for things that fall through the cracks and, you know, contacting agencies and saying, wait a minute, was this agency, was it their turn to start compliance or things like that? It's doing the tracking and the administrative stuff.
Okay,
So,
congratulations.
thank you, and then we were
Fantastic.
able to promote internally, which we sent you guys, an administrator of the electronic management systems, which is now Aisha. And every
Terrific.
Wednesday, we're going to be doing training on the software, and she created
Wow.
some really nice manuals
She did, yes.
for internally, for analysts that come to be able to use it, and externally for agencies. So she's been doing a lot, we've been doing
Sounds
a lot of work.
Fantastic.
So we did that, and We're gonna show you guys the manuals and you're just gonna be like blown away, because they're
Wow.
really professional.
Mhm.
And we also, you know that we increased the headcount to 12 employees. We're still hiring. We've had turnover. We're still hiring. We're still, I think specifically we're recruiting right now for another analyst, but we're also trying to convert one of the positions to sort of an IT position so that we can have some support for all of this new IT stuff that we're doing.
So how many people you have now?
In-house right now, we have about 10 people in here,
Wow.
right?
No.
I thought it was 10. Are you counting me?
Wow.
No, I mean,
You don't have to do a head count, it's all right.
right, but we're also,
So there's
I
been
think we're
no
also trying to
discussion,
get college aides and,
but there's been no discussion, as we used to have, of trying to reduce head count. Your head count is fine,
No.
it's been approved, and you're
right.
okay.
right.
Okay. And your
And,
space needs are fine, and you don't have to move, and that's okay.
right,
And you've used up all the extra money that you had for IT, and that's okay. That you saved very diligently.
yes, in terms of implementing teammate, yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm just going through, I'm just doing a checklist of the problems we used to have that have disappeared under your
Right.
able direction.
Right.
Fantastic.
I'm glad that we were able to establish, 2 new units, I guess, which we're funneling these employees into. The legal unit and the research unit. And Marie has been great. She's our new addition to the legal unit, so we actually have units. And,
As long as you end up not having silos, you're fine.
no, we don't. We transfer information. But, and then we have the director of research who was able to, the research unit is really doing the work on this report. So, that's pretty much about it. And I can say at this point that I was looking yesterday and doing some research on all the agencies under our jurisdiction, and we can honestly say that all of the agencies have been audited within the past 4 years. In terms of the quadrennial
Wow.
cycle.
Yeah, that's right.
So, we fluctuate annually, but the agencies that we're getting back to now have been audited in 2012. So, we have a lot of agencies that we're getting back to, but, we're just continuing, and like I said, we're doing a different type of audit now, where we have the ability to focus and really delve into certain issues, and this time it's gonna be, the titles that have deficiencies, underutilization pretty much. And so, that's what we're gonna be focusing on, for next year.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the report? I want to commend you personally and the agency itself on the amount of work. As commissioners, we remember, and I've just enumerated some of the problems we've looked at, and I want to commend you, Sharice, on cleaning them up and going forward. And it's the forward thinking, I think, that we are particularly proud of being a part of.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much.
And I couldn't do it alone, so I don't wanna take any
You've got
credit.
a great staff now.
Great staff and great commission.
We try.
We try.
Okay, there being no further discussion on the status report of the EEPC and the highlights, I now ask for a report on the status of audit compliance monitoring. I believe we have some votes in front of us, and I ask for a reading from the commissioner on the resolutions in front of us.
Okay, Aggie. Resolution 2015/860, final determination for the Department of Records and Information Systems, issued on 9/2015. Resolution 2015/057, final determination for the New York City Fire Department, issued on 11/25/2015. Resolution 2015/134C-09, determination of compliance, monitoring period required. 2015 to 6/2015 by the Civil Service Commission. Resolution 2015/102C-10, determination of partial non-compliance by the New York City Council. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the report on status of audit compliance monitoring is completed
Okay,
and approved.
actually, Marie, do you wanna go a little bit into the city council stuff?
Sure.
Or, do we wanna put on record that we're actually, cause this is a vote now, and we're,
I
do we
don't
wanna
think
say
so,
that?
I don't think we have to do anything more on it.
Okay.
Alright.
So
Unless-
the first two are, the end of audits, and the second two, the first agency actually went into compliance monitoring after September 11th. But their final determination was mailed on September 11th. It was a final determination that was supposed to be in the last meeting and somehow was left out of the last meeting. So you're voting on it now, and, the second one is the fire department.
Okay.
And then the other two are compliance resolutions.
Right. And we have,
Okay,
certainly are aware of all of the materials and all of the issues related to them.
okay. So you wanna do a report on the
Yeah,
agencies
I
and
would.
compliance?
A brief report on the agencies currently in compliance. There are 10 agencies now in compliance. I do have a small handout for you. Board of Corrections just started compliance. Their first report is due on January 4th, so they're not included in this analysis. But the 9 agencies are all on track to complete compliance on time. The Campaign Finance Board is probably going to finish within the next month or two. And there are currently no issues, and all the agencies are working through the assessments. So it might take them maybe another month or two to complete the 4 corrective actions that have to do with assessments. But as of right now, there are no issues, and all the agencies are pretty much in contact with us, either on a weekly or monthly basis.
Purposes of people listening to this without having this document in front of them and without knowledge of what we view as a corrective action, could I ask you, Maria, just to give a couple of corrective actions without telling me who they are, what they are, but the kind of things that we are looking for in compliance?
Well, there are about maybe 5 corrective actions that have to do with recruitment, hiring, and promotion. We spoke about it briefly, in length at the last meeting, that have to do with the assessment of recruitment efforts, the assessment of your selection criteria, the assessment of selection for discretionary titles as well as civil service titles. So those all work together in tandem. So the agencies are actually working towards obtaining those job titles that have the underutilization and going through the analysis. So that's why it might take them some time to get through them.
And then coming up with a program or a plan, which is what we are arguing is, or stating as corrective action, to deal with that underutilization, try to fill those titles with people that are selected for, or going out for the selection process and making it broader so that people who are not appearing in those titles might appear in those titles later.
Precisely.
So it's not telling you that you have a quota that you have to hire,
But you
but
need to
making
have
it
a
available.
recruiting plan that you're
Yeah.
going to implement to
Right.
address this specific issue.
Right, the first, the plan pretty much that we're having them go through is to identify, first of all, which groups have the deficiencies. Then identify which job groups have the deficiencies, or which group is deficient in the job group. And then come up with a recruitment plan on what kind of outreach you're gonna do when positions do become available in that job group in order to
So the three of us at this table who are female and lawyers, would be, what group, if you found that to be underutilization of the law department, you would tell the court counsel that there aren't enough female lawyers that he has hired.
We wouldn't tell them, we would have them do the analysis,
They should tell
and
us,
they
right?
would tell
Yeah,
us.
they should tell us,
Okay.
right.
All right, I'm just using us as an example,
Yeah.
just for some sense of humor. Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us about compliance?
No, that is all.
So anyways, due, January, okay.
Okay. So the next thing on this agenda is the new business. And we have, and have read, that has been submitted to us, the request to DCAS for C's reports. I don't think you're asking for any action on our part.
No, we just need you guys to sign the letter.
Okay.
It's a letter that will establish, although we already received the information, will establish formally that this is something that the commission
Just gonna
needs
get another one.
as a matter of business.
This one there.
And so we're asking to sign,
Okay.
actually,
All right. The next thing is you have distributed to us a proposed audit plan. Do you want any vote on that as well, or is that something you want to
No,
discuss?
primarily the agencies that are on this plan have already been initiated. We're initiating them according to, the date of their last audit. I can just summarize it and say, we're doing community colleges, we're doing district attorneys, we're doing all of the public administrators, and then we have a few other agencies, throughout the Civilian Complaint, Review Board, HPD, the Department of Corrections, the Business Integrity Commission, the Commission on Human Rights, and the Conflict of Interest Board. So all of these have been initiated, and these will be, we should be having their information, the documents that we request initially by maybe the middle of January, and so we'll begin to work on these agencies next.
Based on it, just to recap our prior conversation, it seems to me that when your report is completed, anybody on your audit plan, the head of any group on your audit plan, not only should the hiring manager, the EEOC, and EO officer, and the HR officer get a copy of the report, but the person who's the head of the group that you've audited ought to get a copy of the report as well.
You're talking about the preliminary determinations,
No,
or
no.
the report that, every agency is gonna get a copy of it
Yeah.
under our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm just recapping that same,
Yes,
because if you look at it, the dean of the community colleges or the president, I'm not quite sure how they're
President.
organized.
President.
President
The
should get a
president,
copy.
yeah.
Yeah, should get a copy. Okay. The next thing on the new business is the commission meeting calendar for 2016.
do each of you have a calendar, or do you
Yeah.
need one? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a draft. These are the meeting dates that we proposed for 2016, and if anyone has an issue, you can take it back with you and just email me and let me know.
That's exactly right. I think we have to check it against
Right,
our
check mine.
personal calendars and see. And 2016 seems so far away, but it's really here, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, God.
So,
Oh, no. All
I
that-
would have a problem with the July meeting, because that's our,
Oh, yeah.
But I'll let you know.
Okay,
All right.
because there's 2 in July.
No, one in
No.
June, one in July.
Right. We have some flexibility
June.
with regard to
Yeah,
between
we
6 and
can-
8 weeks to, yeah, we have
We
flexibility.
could move
If you
that to
want us
August.
I was just thinking of that, we could push the July meeting to August.
To August, just move it into
Because there's no
August.
meeting in August.
Just move it into August, but give us a date,
Mhm.
so send it to us. All right,
Okay, we can.
is there any other new business coming from anything? Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Well, I want to wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year
Yeah.
on behalf of the commissioners. And thank you all for your labors this year.
Your incredible work,
Absolutely.
fantastic, you've done marvelous things, changed a lot of things, and made it even easier for us to understand. It's been wonderful. You did a terrific job.
And the city employees should be thankful to you too, because to the extent that you are discovering underutilization and looking at promotions and hiring, everybody will benefit, and the employment, the city employees will look more like the city citizens,
Should be.
which would be
Fantastic.
very nice. So, without further, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
I move that we accept and adjourn this meeting, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I think you've done a terrific job, you've got great staff, and so we thank you very much, making our job easier. Thank you.
And I second.